Hey everyone, what a fiasco this whole debate commission nonsense has been turned out to be. Like I say, first it started out, well, let's just deal with the Maxime Bernier part of this, right? So Maxime was supposed to be originally, and was it Cream of Gold? I uploaded a video about a week or two ago. Just search through my past videos and you'll see that one. But basically, I went back to an old article. It was an iPolitics article back in 2018 where, no, that minister actually agreed and acknowledged that Maxime, by being an MP already, an elected MP under the Conservatives at the time, that because he is an elected MP of an official party in this country, that was one of the requirements, and he had met that threshold, obviously, and all that was required subsequent to that was to get candidates in 90% of the riding, so it was a done deal. All you have to do is meet those requirements, and Maxime will be allowed in the debates. That is what was said at that time, but as we've seen subsequent to that, no, the goalpost was moved a little bit further because once they realized, oh shit, he's going to meet that requirement, because they probably figured, PBC, they'll never ever be able to get close to get 90% of the candidates in the ridings. But once they realized, oh, actually they're going to meet those requirements, well, let's move that goalpost a little bit further over this way and make that have to strive to try to attain that. Next to an impossibility, I'll add, because basically what they're saying now is Maxime has to be an elected MP under his newly formed party, which at this point in time, at this junction, just a couple months out from the actual federal election, would mean that Maxime would have to step down, spend a lot of that money that's been donated to the party for him to run to be an MP for his new party, so that he can just, maybe a week after that's all done, run once again for the entire federal election. I mean, that's just a ridiculous requirement, especially to put that forth now, this late in the game. But anyways, like I say, that's just the Maxime Bernier side of things in terms of getting in the debates. And we know what kind of fiasco that's been and how that's unfolding. But then we also have the other side of that equation, which is Trudeau basically snubbing everyone. The only debates that he's agreed to even participate in are the government set up and government funded debates. Anywhere that he's not going to have any way to have a top-down way of constructing how the debate plays out, or where he doesn't have a whole lot of sway or influence, such as, like I say, the Monk or the McLean's or the City TV debates. No, he's like, oh, no, I can't control that. There's no way I can enter into debate where my peeps don't have complete control over that. That's what Trudeau's basically saying. And no wonder. Have you ever heard or seen the man once you take the teleprompter away, or water boxes, actually even with the teleprompter. Oh no, but he didn't have the teleprompter when the question was asked. That's what threw him off. It's like, oh, you asked me a question that's outside of what's on the screen. Does not compute. Water boxes, plastic thingamajig. Right. I mean, what a disaster that was. I mean, obviously the guy is not really good at debating or even governing. No matter what a fail he's been on multiple levels. But I mean, the fact that he's willing to avoid entering and participate in these debates literally suggests to you that the man has no capacity or willingness to defend himself. And that's another thing I'll point out as well, because other people have done the same, is, back when it was, Harper was saying that he didn't want to maybe go into too many debates. It was Trudeau that was calling him out at the time. Oh, what, you don't want to defend your position? Oh, well, you don't want to debate? Well, now let's flip that script and put that back on Trudeau. What, you don't want to defend your position or your policies? And no wonder he wouldn't, right? Think about the kind of stuff that can be thrown and tossed at Trudeau and laid right upon his feet. All the gaffes, all the lies, all the corruption, the breaking of the ethnic laws. I mean, no wonder Trudeau doesn't want to participate in any debate, like I say, that can't be micromanaged in any way. But before I get into this article actually out of CBC referencing the debates, let me just point out, I was watching a segment from that guy that's putting on the Monk debates, or one of the main spokesmen there. He was basically saying, well, yeah, hey, if Trudeau doesn't show up, we'll just put that empty, well, not a chair, but the pulpit or whatever there on the stage, and we'll put the little Liberal logo, or I guess Trudeau's name there, and hey, we'll leave it up there, and if he doesn't show up, well, you'll just have an empty pulpit there up on the stage. That's not going to look too good, is it? So I think that's great. That's their way of trying to, do a little bit of bullying tactics to get Trudeau to actually agree to that debate. So good tactics as far as I'm concerned, because really, or not bully, I should say, but to entice. Yeah, not bully per se, but to entice. Yeah, I think it's a great tactic. Will it work? I don't know. I guess it depends on what Gerald Butts tells Trudeau to do, right? In addition to actually all that nonsense, then you got the Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP. All of his provincial candidates in New Brunswick basically, well, not all of them, I guess, but I guess a plurality or a majority of them decided, yeah, I'm not staying on this sinking ship. So they all jumped off, and now they've gone and joined with the Green Party. And what they don't even have basically half of the candidates elected in the riding this close to the election, right? So the NDP is in mass disarray, but Jagmeet Singh's allowed to step out there on that debate stage. Weird, right? Weird stuff. The party that's literally not even meeting the requirements of especially the 90%. But I guess that's the thing. They can use the fact that, well, he is an elected MP, just barely, right? Under his party, because they parachuted him into that Burnaby riding where I guess they figured he could secure that vote or enough support there to get his right, and they were correct in their assumptions. But yeah, they had to parachute him into a jurisdiction on the far west coast of this country. So once again, it's all about jerry-rigging and manipulating things enough just so that you can get yourself to be, I guess, meet those requirements. But actually, if you think about it, that's not even right, because the third part of that, you had to meet 2 of those 3 requirements, right? So 90% ridings, be an elected MP, and be polling and have at least a decent shot of forming governments. First of all, the polling, I mean, they're pretty low. It's down there, what, 10 to 14% typically. But I don't even think that's a genuine representation of reality, because like I say, even if there are some people that are, even if there are 10 to 14% of Canadians that actually do want to support the NDP, the reality suggests that they have no chance of winning, considering the fact that this close to the election, they still have less than half of their candidates even nominated in the ridings. So how is your chance of success going to work out if nobody's actually there to represent the party? So once again, just pure mystical thinking on their behalf. And of course, the Greens, well, I mean, the Greens is actually doing well, I will admit, in terms of the polling, if you want to believe the polling, that is. But it does seem that the Greens are doing. But what's that happening? It's the Greens they're eating the NDP and the Liberals' lunch. That's what's happening. So the left is in mass disarray. Which is another thing to actually point out to the people that are on they say, oh, the PBC, you're splitting the vote on the right. Well, looks like there might be a whole lot of splitting on the left. You know, you got NDP, Greens, and Liberals all vying for that far left space, right? And trying to outdo each other in terms of promoting as far left initiatives as they can possibly go. So, yeah, there's a lot of division and some vote splitting that's going to happen, I believe, on the left as well. But I mean, the biggest part of this story, obviously, as far as I'm concerned, is this part. The fact that Trudeau is showing just how cowardly he is when it comes to standing on a stage for all of us to watch and see and give him the ability to actually defend his positions or stand up there and actually debate with some of the other candidates. Like I say, I would love to see that, and I'm sure you would too. If for nothing else than to see him eat some crow and go down in flames like he rightfully should. Headline out of CBC News, Politics. Trudeau snubs Monk McLean's City TV debates, but will attend commission debates. Liberal leader willing to do TVA debates if parties can agree on date. It's reported by David Cochran, September 5th, 2019. So there is the French debate that I apparently actually subsequent to this article, I believe that he did agree to participate in another French debate. So basically I think the way it'll work out now is you get what? Don't quote me 100% on this. I may be incorrect in this assumption, although I believe I'm right, is it's going to be what? 2 French debates and 1 English debate in Canada. We have one French province, and the rest of the provinces are all English, but we have it upside down and flipped upside down at this point where now there's going to be 2 French-speaking debates and only 1 English. Yeah. Welcome to modern clown world, bizarro land in Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is committing to taking part in 2 federal election debates and is willing to do a third, but will be a no-show for both the Monk and Maclean's City TV debates, despite efforts to convince the Liberal leader to take part. The 2 debates that Trudeau has committed to attending are being organized by the Leaders Debate Commission, which was established after the last election and is led by former Governor General David Johnston, the guy who has decided and determined that Maxime's not allowed in the debates. I figured I'd just add that little tidbit of info as well. The commission was established after the last election, where the governing party tried to game the system and make sure the fewest number of Canadians engaged in the debates. We think that's wrong, Daniel Lauzon, the Liberals' Director of Communications and Policy for the campaign, said in a statement. The commission debates will be widely distributed on television, radio, digital, and social streaming platforms and reach the largest possible audience. The Liberals also have given a provisional yes to Quebec-based TVA to participate in a third debate if all parties can agree on a date. TVA is the only major Canadian network not included in the commission and commands the largest television audience in Quebec. The broadcasters taking part in the commission are CBC News, Radio-Canada, Global News, City TV, the Toronto Star, and the Toronto Star chain, HuffPost Canada, HuffPost Quebec, La Presse, Le Devoir, and L'Actualité. The Quebec audience is one that Trudeau is keen to reach in this campaign. The Liberals are anticipating seat losses in Atlantic Canada and the Prairies. They hope to hang on to government by offsetting those losses with gains in Quebec and possibly Ontario. So anyways, folks, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video below. But I mean, just think about the broadcasters that are taking part of the commission. Yeah, right. All those left-leaning outlets there that are, once again, bought and paid for by the federal Liberals to the tune of $600 million. You're not seeing the National or the Financial Post or any of those Post publications included in there, right? Because a lot of those contributors would be somewhat centrist or a little bit on the right side of the political spectrum in terms of the reporting or their political leanings. But they're not included there. CBC, though, yeah. Global News, yeah. CTV, yeah. Huffington Post, yeah. I mean, like I said, a lot of left-leaning outlets. A lot of them that no doubt are getting some of that $600 million of bailout money graciously offered up by Trudeau at the taxpayers' expense, I'll add. Not like I agree to this, not like you agree to it, but Trudeau's virtue signaling and trying to buy off the press with your tax dollars. That's a reality. That's, like I say, modern clown world. That's the world we live in today, folks. Corruption rules the day. Which is why I am so done with this stuff and trying my best to help get Maxime Bernier and the PPC to play a very key and pivotal role after this federal election. For us to get out from underneath of this kind of top-down authoritarianism that's been coming at us hardcore from both the right and the left, the entrenched conservatives, as well as their liberal counterparts, like I say, those libcons, the two wings of that same bird, it's time for us Canadians to get out from underneath that duopoly. And the only way that's going to happen, well, sure as crap isn't going to be by supporting the Green Party or the NDP. That's for sure. No, the only way we can get out from underneath that currently, and in a manner that's not going to greatly degrade or destroy our society or economy, is, like I say, that gradual shift, that pivot towards more personal responsibility, individual freedom, fairness, and respect. And the only party in this country that are promoting that and actually have a viable chance come this October is Maxime Bernier and the PPC. So do what you can. Forget about worrying about people say, oh, don't split the vote, or that you're just giving away your vote, or it's a waste of a vote, or how dare you divide us. No, forget about all the rhetoric you're hearing from your right wing and your left wing counterparts, or those who want to maintain the status quo of the ruling establishment. Forget about the rhetoric they're espousing and trying to trick you or convince you into just go along to keep the status quo hum along just that much longer. Like I say, no, the Canadian people, this society, our country can't handle the status quo for much longer, regardless if it's the Liberals or the Conservatives. No, it's time to break free from that libcom duopoly. And like I say, the way to do that is to vote for the PPC this October. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.